Hello, everybody. Let's see if I can. Not quite a large gentleman. I'm tall. I'm just on 6 foot. Was once a little over 6 foot, but old age has made me shrink just a tad. But look, I need to show off the producer. Come here, you. Come here. Oh, he's putting up a fight now because he knows that I want to put him in front of the camera. Meet the producer, or the new producer, because the new producer's had a haircut. Haven't you? Everybody that I've spoken to since I've shown a picture of him on social media all reckon that my dog has been switched and that this is not Pippin. But trust me, this is my little man, aren't you? Hey? Hello, you going to look at the camera? Yes. Hey? Oh, he's not very impressed, are you? So, look, as I said, he's my favorite. He's my best friend, and I've had him now 7 years. I can't believe it's been that long. Actually, the groomer was actually asking how old he was, and I said, "Well, you've been grooming him since he was old enough to be groomed." He has been. He's been with them a long time, so it's hilarious. I'll show some pictures. Here's a picture of the little man prior to being groomed, and of course, here's a picture of him now groomed. And as you can see, he's a totally different dog. I must admit, the footprint that he takes up now, it's like I've got this little tiny dog rather than this big hairball. It's gorgeous. But yeah, so I thought I would start the beginning of my vlog today with showing off my best friend. So what am I talking about today? Well, look, I've been wandering around and looking at now I'm going to get glare on everything because of the screen I'm going to be looking at. So my glasses are going to pick up a fair bit of glare. So I'm trying to so see, look, this is the problem now. Glasses and old age and everything else. Bit of a daft old man, aren't I? But yes, I've been trolling Drive-Thru RPG because I honestly can't afford to buy the imported physical copies of RPGs. They just, honestly, they're so dear. They really are. And to be honest, I find that the PDF versions of the role-playing games are such a better value, certainly from the perspective of looking at a new role-playing game, because it allows you for a relatively cheaper price than a physical copy in most cases, not all, but it does allow you to have a look, and if you really enjoy the game, go and buy a physical copy. And that's what I do enjoy about the Drive-Thru RPG and all its, I guess, its sister sites, if you'd like to call it that. The Wargamer one, and I think there's a comic one, and I can't remember if there's any others. But look, honestly, it is really, really good. I'm not really that keen on PDFs, because I tend to be a person who will print anything that I do buy as a PDF, because I just find that it's so much easier to sit down and read a physical copy, because I can flick backwards and forwards so quickly. But then again, bear in mind, I come from a generation that is not really techno-literate, so perhaps the new the younger people, or those people who are more tech savvy than I, can probably, master electronic formats a lot better, and good on them for that, if that's what they're comfortable with. But look, honestly, with the way that the pricing of electricity is going, we may all be back in the dark age and having to rely on printed material one way or the other. But as I've was trying to say before I've done a Billy Connolly and gone wandering off into another area of waffle, I've been looking at other role-playing systems, and I was getting very depressed for a while. The Australian bottle top or beer top economy was dropping so bad. We were like, I think at one stage we were down to 62 cents against the American bloody greenback, and it was, things were looking a tad bit dire there. I'm thinking, oh God, don't go any lower. But it seems to have surged a little bit back, so it's not quite so, well, it's still not good, to be quite honest, but it could be a lot worse. So it does make it a little difficult when you are trying to buy things as it is. But some of the role-playing games that I've looked at, now I've bought them purely on the fact that I like them as a theme. As to whether or not they're any good as a role-playing system is not really that important to me, because I tend to want to look at playing games from the concept of a role-playing interaction between party members, and the game mechanics is secondary to the enjoyment of what the game is. So that's what I look at. That and the fact too that nearly everything for me is a source book, which I'll then use for other games that I run, because I'm a dreadful plagiarist when it comes to wanting to incorporate other people's ideas into things that I want to run. And that's the wonderful thing about being a game master, is that the world's your oyster. You pick and choose, you do what you want. Never allow anybody to try and pigeonhole you into what you can and can't do. Yes. So one of the ones that I was looking at, and it's from an old style, old school Renaissance or revival or whatever they call it, OSR. And I've always enjoyed John Carter, Warlord of Mars. It was one of the books that I read as a younger person. Dare I say I was ever young? But this one is called Warriors of the Red Planet, and it is brought out by a company called Night Owl Workshop. And now the price I'm quoting here, I think, is $10 US. So the book itself, or the publication's 124 pages. And when was this produced? Or it was released in 2016. So it's been around for a while. So it's certainly not new. But it says here that Warriors of the Red Planet is a game of classic pulp of sword and planet science fiction. So if your tastes run towards flashing swords and pistols against a backdrop of alien vistas, soaring airships, and lost civilizations on faraway worlds, then this is the game for you. So this role-playing game is intended to evoke the worlds as well as the style presented in The Martian, Venusian, and other sword and planet works of Burroughs, Moorcock, who's that? Klein, Vance, and others, where no race, creature, or device is too fantastic. Yes, it's interesting. A few people have forgotten that Michael Moorcock, who is more famous for his Elric, Hawkmoon, and the Eternal Champion series, actually did a series of Martian books, which I actually do have, and I can't remember what their exact title is. I'll see if I can find a picture of the of them and stick them up here if I can. But they're actually, I do actually have copies of them. It's been ages since I've read them. But of course, you know, delightful artwork from the 70s. So, but yeah. So the rules are based in their most basic form on the original fantasy role-playing game, and all elements are intended to be mostly compatible with that system. It's successive editions and versions of the other old-school retro clones, like Colonial Troopers, Guardians, and others. So there is a whole heap of others that this company, Night Owl Workshop, have done. They've done, like, for instance, one called Raiders, which is like an Indiana Jones set of rules. So that's a pulp series. So I've got that on my radar. I've also got their Colonial Troopers, which is their science fiction. So again, it's on my list because it's reasonably cheap. It's not too dear. It's only, what's that, 124 pages. So it's about, I can't remember how much that was it's 8 cents a page here in Australia to print it. So, but yeah, so that is one that is on my radar. It's actually been printed. It's in my collection now for me to have a read of. So I am always a huge fan of anything that deals with John Carter, Warlord of Mars, Edgar Rice. Honestly, anything from Edgar Rice Burroughs I've always enjoyed. So, but I'm showing my age, aren't I? So that is, now of course my phone, I got my tablet here, which has been turned off for ages. So you're going to hear a whole heap of little beeps and warbles. So I do apologise. It's almost as good as the other day when all that traffic went wandering by my residence. Let's see if I can turn down the volume on this. Maybe that might stop it from making too much noise. See, look, you get a Mickey Mouse production when you get me doing anything here. So next one that I picked up. Now, Drive-Thru does have, because this is the spooky month, it has a sale on selected horror or that role-playing games. And one that I did see ages ago, I think Bundle of Holding had a deal on it, and I passed up on it because, well, I'm a penniless pensioner and I don't have a lot of money a lot of the time. But it was on special, reduced, so it they had a 20% discount on the series. So I've picked up Never Going Home, and it's from a business called Wet Ink Games. And the core book is, I believe, 122 pages. It says here it was nominated for a 2020 Annie Award for Best Art. So, look, honestly, the art is quite nice. Pardon me. It is quite nice. It's very evocative because, as I will now explain, this one is the world is already at war. This is set during World War One. So what's happened now is that the veil between, I guess, this world and a horrific world has been torn asunder, and the whispers, which is the voices that are out there, the other side, promise you power. And you may live long enough to lose your humanity. Now, I did have a look at it. I do like the looks of what it promises. Again, I like the concept and the information that's within it. As to how good the role-playing game is, I really don't know. Again, as I will say with anything else that I do here, is it's up to you how well you can make a role-playing game mechanics work. But for me, it says here, Never Going Home is a party-focused role-playing game set in a horror-haunted trenches during the First World War. So I bought the first, the core book. I bought the, what was it? Bones and Dust? No, Dust and Bones. Anyway, it's the Gallipoli expansion, which is for the, because I'm here in Australia, it allows me to bring Anzacs in, the Anzacs in British. People tend to forget that the Gallipoli campaign wasn't just about Australians. There were a whole, the British and a lot of other people were involved in that campaign. It wasn't just, Australians at Anzac Cove that were that made their names there. So, but yeah. Anyway, look, I won't get into too much there. But yeah, it's party focused, and look, it says here the setting is our real Earth, and the characters are all humans. So there's no, you're only human. No other, no weird races. And you get to play one of the what is it? One of the nationalities, one of the factions. So you'll have the the Allies, or the British Empire, as it was still called back then, I believe. So you've got the British, and then you've got the French, and then you've got the German. The Kaiser and his, and then you've got the Russians, and it's interesting. So I really like the concept of it, and I'm very keen to have a look at just how well that may play out in the long run. So Never Going Home, and it's 2 expansions I've got. The other one is called it's called, I think, Sea of Terror. Look, I'll have it up here anyway. But it's set in a U-boat, U-19, and I really like the. I thought, I like the sounds of that. That sounds really, really interesting. And so I don't know. Again, they're fairly cheap, and honestly, for the price that they're asking for, I think they're well and truly worth a good. Give them a go. See whether or not you like it, and if not, purely from the information that is in there, you can use it virtually for any other. You can use it for Call of Cthulhu, or any of the other. I can't think of too many other horror role-playing games at the moment. My mind's run a blank. But yes, anyway, Never Going Home. I like the looks of it. What else have I acquired? I'm trying to find all my screenshots now. Sorry, you'll have to bear with me while my technology, or inability to master technology, really shows itself. So we've looked at... Right, the other thing. Last night I had some very good people come round for a game, Dead Zone, which we've been playing. That's from Mantic Games. That's a miniatures squad level game, and it was absolute hoot. I thought my partner and I, as in who I was partnered with, we were going to lose our team match against the other pair, which was Shannon and Dan, and we managed to pull back at the end. It was pure luck. But anyway, Shannon, who was there, was telling me about this other role-playing game. And being the weak individual I am, I had to go and have a look at it. And he was telling me about this role-playing game called Mothership. And this is brought out by Tuesday Night Games, and that's KNIGHT Games. And again, it's one of these ones where it's a pay what you want. So obviously, if you can pay something, it would be good. However, all the other supplements and that go with the game do have a price on them. So it's up to you. But the rule book itself is only 44 pages in length, so it's not very big. And it's the premise for this. Actually, this is the winner. This is a winner of a 2019 Gold NE for Best Game, and that was, not that it made me decide that I was going to buy the game, but I was purely going on the recommendation of a friend who was telling me about it last night. And he said, oh, look, he said, I really like the looks of it, and I thought, oh, well, I'll have to give it a go and have a look at it. So Mothership is a sci-fi horror role-playing game where you and your crew try to survive in the most inhospitable environment in the universe, outer space. You'll excavate dangerous, derelict spacecraft, explore strange, unknown worlds, exterminate hostile alien life, and examine the horrors that encroach upon your every move. And there seem to be, it says here, you've got 4 classes. You've got Teamsters, Scientists, Androids, and Marines. So it's saying here, Mothership is actively in development, and the release that they've got here is a beta, and there will be limited print releases of the beta at most major conventions. So, yeah, I just, on a recommendation of a friend, he said, look, we've played it. We thought it was really, really good. So I thought, all right, I'm weak. I'll, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'll have to give it a go. So I'll printed that out today. As I said, only 44 pages. So it wasn't a big investment because it's, as I said, it's a pay what you want. So for me, it was just a small donation which I made, and the cost of having it printed. So I've printed up a whole heap of, like I printed up 6 lots of character sheets and everything that goes with it, in the event that I'll eventually get some games running. So, but again, looks interesting, and give it a go. It was recommended to me. Perhaps my recommendation to you might make you think maybe it's worth having a look at. So the last one, and again it came from Shannon, he made this recommendation as well, was a game called, another role-playing game called Microscope. Now, I have no idea what this is. It was, a winner of the most innovative new product gaming genius awards, but doesn't seem to give it a year. So no idea when that was given. When was this first hit the catalogue in? This title was added in 2011, so it has been around for a while, so it's not a new game. And so what is Microscope? It says here, humanity spreads to the stars and forges a galactic civilization. Fledgling nations arise from the ruins of the empire. An ancient light of dragon kings dies out as magic fades from the realm. These are examples of Microscope games. Want to explore an epic history of your own creation, hundreds of thousands of years long, all in an afternoon? That's Microscope. So it says you won't play the game in chronological order. Okay, that's interesting. You can defy the limits of time and space, jumping backwards and forwards to explore the parts of the history that interest you. Want to leap 1,000 years into the future and see how an institution shaped society? Want to jump back to the childhood of the king you just saw assassinated and find out what made him such a hated ruler? That's normal in Microscope. So this looks interesting, and it says mock chronological order, defy time and space, build worlds and destroy them. A role-playing game for 2 to 4 players. So they do put a cap, interestingly enough. And there's no game master, no prep. Microscope was play-tested for 2 years by over 150 awesome people. Well, there you go. Look, it's been recommended to me. So, again, I'll ran out of pennies. So it's on my wish list. So perhaps next pension day in a fortnight's time, I'll give it a dabble and have a look at it. So there you go. They are some of the role-playing games that have caught my fancy, and that I guess I will have a look at. But look, honestly, it's amazing that so many things can keep you interested with the fact that actually now I'm beginning to waffle now. It is enjoyable to see that there are so many people out there with such fertile imaginations in reimagining worlds and creating role-playing games or systems and universes that can encapsulate so many hours worth of enjoyment of play for people who are looking for something different. And I'm always looking for something different. I'm not always looking for something that's mainstream. Look, oh, for heaven's sakes, where is it? It's sitting there somewhere. Oh, it's just, there it is. Just, let's see if I can get it. There it is, Empire of the Petal Throne. I've had it for, what must it be now, 40 years. And look, honestly, I still can't find anybody to play it because nobody plays it properly. Well, not properly, but they don't really take the game seriously, which is really, really destroys a way that a game can be destroyed in many ways. But yet, Tekkamul has had so many reprintings in different game systems that it's interesting that you think, well, obviously there must be something there that allows it to be to find another life. But anyway, I have rambled on long enough. I can actually pick my phone up now because down here, as you can see, he's gone to sleep. That's one of my daughters from many years ago. I think Black Butler. No, Black Butler? Yeah, I think it's Black Butler. So he's gone to sleep. He's very, very comfortable there. He likes his... Yes. He's... So he's not paying a heck of a lot of attention to me and my production at the moment, so I can get away with whatever I like. So look, thank you everybody for listening to my little bit of diatribe. My verbal diarrhea, shall we call it? And so till next time, signing off, the Honourable John.